Welcome traders. This is a live trading blog where I trade trading systems such as day trading, swing trading, position trading, and the four horsemen. I upload videos 1 to 3 times per week. And if you would like to know how I trade these systems, I have links to the videos below. These are rules-based systems, so it takes the human emotion factor out, which is the main thing that's holding beginner traders back from making a real profit. I place my orders in the beginning of the Tokyo session for my four horsemen and the day trading. I also place pending orders before or during the beginning of the month for my position trades, and I also trade the first few hours of the week for my swing trades. Again, more information is in the videos in the link below. So we are currently in Tuesday afternoon, about 10 minutes before the New York close. It's 17 November 2020. We're going to take a look here real fast on our trade setups. I'm going to go ahead and bring this to my full pivot charts. So I am going to have a trade setup for in between the central pivot and the M2 on the daily for the pound US dollar. Price is going sideways in to my next box, which is between the M2 and the central pivot. We will be having a trade right inside here. And for the euro US dollar, since we hit the red zone, we will be taking a trade between the central pivot and the M2. The only thing that I have for the yen is the pound yen. We have a sideways box. It's going to be right inside here. It's going to be a sideways box, so it's going to be a pending order to buy right here where my cursor is at. So we have 7 minutes until the market, and I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording here. See you back in a couple seconds. On a real quick note, after reviewing the pound yen, the trade setup is for the central pivot. Therefore, I cannot place my pending order below the weekly central pivot for the pound yen. So what I will need for price to do during tomorrow's session, since this is my box right here, my box is right here, I will need price to come down and up through the London session and then take the trade right here. Okay, we are less than 1 minute out. Okay, I'm going to take the Aussie as a front run. There we go. Alright, so I have a pending order. Let's go ahead and mark these boxes now. Alright, so I have this is my pending order from earlier. This is my target. Nope, that's the stop loss. Let's see, what's this? Okay, that's my target. place this one, just mark the box. And I have a pending order still not triggered. We'll just use this one. $166 average one. Okay, that's better. Okay, so I have my pending orders and I just need to update my book. I do have a possibility of a trade setup on the CAD yen. This is my weekly M2 just below it. We'll take a look real quick at the Four Horsemen. It's my only trade I have right now. On the Four Horsemen is my Australian yen. Still has quite a ways away from the first take profit zone. All right, it is 6:45 p.m. on Tuesday the 17th of November 20, and yeah, still we took two more hits. Obviously, it's the Australian, so two small hits. It's not our week, is it? It's just not setting up properly. We'll go ahead and mark that down as well. So this is AUD. And it's 8726. And the other one is 9620. Alright, I'm not worried about these little losses because when we take the wins, they're big wins. Alright, let's take a look at the open orders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I should have 6 open and 1 pending. Let's take a look at. Okay, it looks like we're making a go for our first profit target level for the Australian yen. Good morning, traders. It is 4:39 a.m. on the 18th of November, Wednesday morning, which is 3 hours and 40 minutes into the London session. What do I have here? Still price kind of switching below and above central pivot, weekly central pivot. for the pound yen. I'm looking for a definitive break above central pivot. Australian yen, I'm waiting for price to, if it were to break above central pivot, I do have a possible setup on that. Although, in fact, I hope it does not, because I do have the four horsemen on the Australian yen. A possible setup here on the Canadian yen. I do need price to break above this box here, and maybe something in the works here for the euro yen. So there's some stuff to keep an eye on there. Sitting in a small amount of profit on the euro USD, and let's see here, took that stop out yesterday. This is a new setup. I will need price to break above the box during the London session. However, this was a Asian session breakout, and still have a pending order working on the pound USD, so not much to talk about there. There's my Australian euro bouncing beautifully off the central pivot. Next stop, I believe next stop is going to be M2 during this in New York session, and hopefully cuts all the way through all my target zones. We'll keep you updated. Okay, so looking a little bit closer here at the Australian US dollar, let me go ahead and expand the chart. Looks like this is my London session. Right here is my London session. That's where we did get the break above. So I will be taking a buy on the top of the central pivot, given that we come right back down here one more time. And I do see the pound yen trying to break it back above central pivot again. In that case, this would be the setup. So we're on standby right now with those two. Also, the CAD yen appears, we do have the setup, and it appears like it is going to break above the box. It's 5:14 a.m. A little bit of a Bitcoin watch right now. Looks like we did come all the way up to 18,500, all-time highs being 20,000, so we're not too far away from the all-time highs. All right, it is 6:24 a.m., 24 minutes.
Day trade alert. Day trade alert.
That's my new trade alert. There we go, taking the Australian US dollar and my S1.
Day trade alert.
All right, this guy is going to go all the way up.
Day trade alert.
Let's see here. That is only 62 pips, not enough for me.
Day trade alert. Day trade alert.
$82. My average win is 124. Still not enough. $107. That's good. I'm going to go ahead and mark it with a little arrow. There we go. Looks like all the yens are peeling off. The Australian yen's peeling off central pivot. Pound yen's peeling off central pivot. No reaction yet from the CAD yen. Still in a bearish posture, however, possible bounce off the weekly M2. And not a, more of like a dead cat pound so far off the euro yen weekly M2. Take a look at our four horsemen. Looks like the Australian yen may be going down to our first profit taking level. Nice rejection off of the central pivot. Quick update, 6:45 a.m. and I'm going to go ahead and remove this setup. We can still bounce off of the M2, testing it right now. Alright, it's 7:45 a.m., an hour and 45 minutes into the New York sesh. I'm going to go ahead and mark out a couple of trade setups occurring here. We do look like we might be breaking above the weekly central pivot. Still waiting for the daily, which is just above the weekly central pivot on the pound yen. And let's see here, maybe a bounce off this weekly here for the CAD yen, and maybe a bounce off the weekly M2 for the euro yen. We'll mark that one out as well. Not a whole lot of movement in the markets today. Sitting in a little bit of profit here on the euro USD, still range bound. Took out the lower end of the range. Sitting about break even right now on the Australian USD, range bound. Still have a pending order way down here. Looks like we're probably not going to hit it unless we hit the red zone, come down, trigger the buy. Seen it happen before. Alright, I'm getting a break above the central pivot.
Day trade alert. Day trade alert.
That's my my trade alert that I recorded. But I'm getting a break above the central pivot here.
Day trade alert. Day trade alert.
Okay, let's take that off. So I need a few candle closes above the central pivot here. Let's enlarge this. Yeah. So we're here now. What I need is for some daylight and then take the trade on top of central pivot. And we have a really small target range in here, so I'm going to have to look for maybe something like the weekly S2. The good thing about it is my stop would be right down here, and it'd be a real tight stop. I mean, that's not much at all. That's only, let's say I take it at central pivot with spread. That's only a 33 pip stop on the pound yen. That's nothing. It is now 8:16 a.m. I'm going to go ahead and remove my trade setup here for the euro yen. And the CAD yen's about to breach below. Still need some daylight here on the pound yen. Yeah, everything else is about the same. Alright, it's 8:33 a.m. Still seesawing for the pound yen. I am going to remove this trade setup. And I love how these pivot points really filter out nonsense. I am going to remove the trade setup for the CAD yen as we're breaking below the M2. It's 9:42 a.m. and I do have a setup for the CAD yen as it's breaking back above. It did a little head fake below the weekly M2 and is breaking back above, so I'm going to set my new custom alert for a break of the daily M2. Let's see, day trade alert. Sitting in a little bit of profit right now in the Australian yen, or Australian US dollar. And pretty much break even, a little bit of profit on the Euro USD. It is 11:05 a.m. and it looks like the CAD yen is making a little bit of a move. Right. So I do have the trade set up, and I have my alert set for a breakout of the pivot point. Australian yen also moving back up towards central pivot, and so is the pound yen. The euro yen is still fiddling around with the M2, and that's all the updates I have for now. All right.
Day trade alert.
Okay.
Day
looks
trade
like
alert.
it looks like I am getting that alert that the CAD yen is breaking above its central pivot point. Let's go ahead and bring it over to the full pivots, white. There we are. So what I'm going to need to see here is for price to send a couple of candle closures above and some daylight before I take the buy at central pivot. So we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, it is 11:45 a.m. my time. We only have about 3 hours and 15 minutes left in the New York session. I am going to go ahead and end this video here. It does look like the CAD yen is setting up for a possible tomorrow trade. That's if this box right here can at least be sideways and not a downwards box. So possible setup for a tomorrow trade. All right, we'll see you in the next video, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any other of our videos that we post daily.